This
Okay,
conference will now be recorded.
thanks everyone for joining. I'm going to call this meeting to order, and at this time I'm going to ask if there are any additions to the agenda. Okay, hearing none, I would ask for a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion moved.
Okay, do you have the
Seconded.
contacts? Let me bring that up. I just don't have it.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
Terry, I think you have your
Okay.
speaker on. Oh, okay. Councilor okay, perfect. Councilor McQuarrie, can you hear okay?
Yes, yep.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so moved by Deputy Mayor. We just need a seconder for the approval of the agenda.
Seconded.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Contrary minded? Okay, the agenda is approved. Our next item is presentations. So first up, we have a presentation from Straight Area Transit. And Amber, you're with us this evening?
I'm here, yeah.
Hi, Miss Amber. Just to give you a little heads up, usually we have 15-minute allotments for presentations and about a 5-minute Q&A. So I'm going to hand things over to you. Thanks so much for coming this evening.
Thank you for having me. Okay, so to start off, Straight Area Transit's vision, helping to create communities where everyone can access the services, opportunities that they need to lead a healthy, connected life, providing accessible, supportive, door-to-door transportation options to all residents of Inverness County, Richmond County, and the town of Port Hawkesbury, with a focus on those who have barriers due to age, health, mobility, and finances. What does Straight Area Transit do? Straight Area Transit is a nonprofit community-based transit system whose goal is to provide all-inclusive, safe, reliable, accessible, environmentally friendly, and professionally delivered transit services to the residents of the Straight Area. Imagine being dependent on others for transportation. You miss medical appointments, job opportunities, family gatherings, or even everyday events like shopping because of this barrier. Now imagine that barrier is being removed. You're now able to make it a life-saving medical appointment, say 3 times a week, able to visit stores in Port Hawkesbury for the first time in years, no longer dependent on others for drives. For many of our local passengers, that is exactly what Straight Area Transit has done for them. With every trip Straight Area Transit makes, barriers to employment, education, medical appointments, and social interactions are being stripped away. The reality is that transportation is still an issue for many residents of the Straight Area, regardless of age or economic stature. With the dispersed locations of essential services and opportunities, the cost and availability of transportation is a major concern for residents. Straight Area Transit provides a solution for this problem. Did you know that Straight Area Transit is also environmentally friendly? By taking the bus, there could be 40 fewer vehicles on the road, 70,000 liters of fuel could be saved, and 175 tons of greenhouse gas emissions would be reduced a year. So Straight Area's team, we're made up by myself, the executive director. We have 1 dispatcher on staff as well as 6 drivers. So just a few of the many benefits that SAT provides for our communities. Reduce social isolation, promotes independence, expands the employment opportunities, increased access to healthcare, upgrade of education, transportation to and from the food bank, delivery of food hampers, bicycle transportation, group transportation, transportation of the ballot boxes for Elections Canada, and so much more. So travel options, our clients can travel anywhere within our service area for the same amazingly low price flat rate of $5, whether that be to a hospital, community event, the library, or even a day at the beach. We offer several types of services, which include the regular fixed route service, dial-a-ride service, charter service, accessible taxi service, and carriage of parcel express. So where does our fixed route serve? This is a Monday to Friday service, which has a fixed route schedule. Our fixed route service runs from Port Hawkesbury to Inverness 4 times a day, starting at 5:30 in the morning, and usually ending in Inverness about 4:30, returning back to Port Hawkesbury. So the dial-a-ride service, what is dial-a-ride? This is a door-to-door service for those residents that are unable to use traditional transportation. The main purpose of this service is to provide transportation to medical appointments and other destinations that require an accessible vehicle. Dial-a-ride is a service that transports clients on a first-come, first-served basis, and it must be booked 24 to 48 hours in advance. So where does dial-a-ride service cover? Dial-a-ride service provides door-to-door service within Inverness County, Richmond County, and the town of Port Hawkesbury. What is chartered service? This is a service that is offered evenings and weekends and is a great way for a group of people to travel together to a common destination. Keep your friends, family, and coworkers safe by providing them a safe transportation to and from your event to avoid tragedies associated with drinking and driving. Taxi services. So why does Straight Area Transit need a taxi license within the town of Port Hawkesbury? This service is to assist local taxi services within the town of Port Hawkesbury that does not have the fleet to provide such transportation. What is the demand for accessible transportation within the town of Port Hawkesbury? We currently transport our accessible clientele from an area to receive medical appointments or provide them the unrestricted access to food. Carriage of Parcel Express. What is this service? The transportation of passengers, their baggage, and/or parcels within the counties of Richmond, Inverness, and all points between, one way or return. Is there a set fee for this service? This service is provided with a set fee of $10 per trip booked. NSCC transportation. Do we provide transportation for NSCC students? Yes. NSCC students are a part of our everyday service. We currently transport students from Inverness County and Richmond County. Do we transport NSCC students within the town of Port Hawkesbury? Yes. We do have set pickups within the town of Port Hawkesbury to transport students to their classes. This service has been since suspended as our bus is in the shop, and that is the one that carries the proper license in for us to carry out that transportation. So hopefully it will be back up soon. The literacy program travel. Do we transport attendees to the literacy program? Yes, we have transported many groups of attendees to the literacy program over the years, and we're currently in the works to start up transporting 2 new groups in the coming weeks. To what locations? So in the past, for the last few years, it has been in the St. Peter's location. The 2 new groups that we are scheduling and getting ready to start up will be in the Port Hawkesbury location. So our 2021 ridership, this breaks down showing the Richmond and Inverness and Port Hawkesbury uptake for riders. Keep in mind, this is only showing our dial-a-ride for Inverness County, so this isn't showing our fixed route numbers for Inverness. So as you can tell, by month it does fluctuate, whether that's just the uptake or the need during that month, and we also have COVID in our numbers right here as well. We will see a little fluctuation with COVID in the waves. So ridership by self-identified disability. So as I said, we transport anyone with any ability or disability. These are just a few of the numbers that we screen through. Of course, there is many that are not identified or chose not to self-identify. So we do transport, we do use the wheelchair as well. Like I said, we do have 2 vehicles that is wheelchair accessible, but of course, if someone has trouble getting their legs up over one of our vans, we will use the lift in one of our vans or the ramp to assist them getting into our vehicles. So in summary, Strait Area Transit is more than just a bus service. Our well-trained and empathetic staff love their jobs and go above and beyond for our riders. We take pride in connecting communities on our island and contributing to a higher quality of life. It's our mission to make sure everyone can safely, reliably, affordably, and easily get to wherever they need to go, barrier-free. So again, thank you for having me, and thank you for the continued support. We will continue to provide our superior, client-focused, and budget-friendly services for many years to come.
Thanks so much, Amber, and we'll definitely open up the floor for some questions. And I just wanted to compliment you on the great presentation before we open things up for discussion. And also to ask, I guess, permission. I see some information in here that would be quite pertinent to our accessibility committee in terms of the section on all the ways we move. And just wondering if it might be okay to use some of your presentation slides in our work.
Oh, absolutely. And if there's ever any other information that would help, please reach out.
Fantastic. So I guess I'll open up the floor for questions. Maybe we'll start with Mark.
Yes, Your Worship, through you. Thank you, Amber, for the presentation. Well done. One question I would have, I guess you could do later, is can you give me a breakdown of the number of passengers you would have within Port Hawkesbury, like going to NSCC, going to the hospitals? Like how many would run from, I guess you leave here, you said in the morning to go to Inverness? I guess just a total number, I guess, of all your passengers in Port Hawkesbury.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, off the top of my head, just kind of, we do have 3 regular students that come down from Inverness every day to NSCC. We usually have about 4 a week that's full-time going to NSCC from Richmond County, and there is one that goes 3 days a week. So I can certainly look at breaking all that down and sending that along.
Thank you.
Any other follow-up questions, Mark?
No, that would be fine, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. Councillor McCrory.
Hi, through Your Worship to Amber. Thanks, Amber, for the presentation. And I think Strait Area Transit provides an invaluable service, and hopefully we see it continue to expand, and appreciate all the work that you've put in, certainly over the last year and a half in the role as the executive director. So thank you very much, Amber.
Thank you.
Okay, and Deputy Mayor Coyne.
Through you, Your Worship. Amber, thank you for the presentation. There are a few bullets that did catch my attention. The first one is the door-to-door service in the town of Port Hawkesbury. Can you describe that for me, please?
So that door-to-door just means that it's like first come, first serve. So if somebody in the town of Port Hawkesbury called and said, you know, I need to get to the Street Richmond Hospital, do you have availability? That's what door-to-door is called. Our fixed route is fixed time, so the door-to-door is the dial-a-ride. So it doesn't mean that I'm transporting them within the town of Port Hawkesbury.
Okay, so that was my next question is, do you do door-to-door service within the town? So could I call you, get picked up and brought to Sobeys?
If you're accessible client, yes. Otherwise, no. Our taxi license only covers people that need accessible transportation. So if you have somebody with you, of course they can come with you, but otherwise it's just accessible.
Okay, and then I also did hear you say to and from the food bank, but I'm assuming it's the same thing if it's somebody that's in a wheelchair.
Right.
That's whom you would take within the town to the food bank?
Of course, yes. Or on the outer skirts of Port Hawkesbury, we can bring them in as well.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
No, I do want to say that the service, I see it a lot on the road, and especially down in the Ayrshire area, and I see it's very well received for students coming to NSCC, and I think that's very important.
Mm-hmm.
And I will also say that when I see your drivers on the road, they're driving in a safe manner, and I think that's a big pat on the back that your drivers deserve. Like I said, I see them all over the place. I never see any of your vehicles being driven reckless or anything like that. So I do want to commend your drivers on that. Thank you very much.
No, they are great staff, and I love hearing that. Thank you.
Thanks, Amber. I guess any other questions from council? Okay, so I guess I'd just like to again take the opportunity to thank you, Amber, and also appreciate you sharing your slide deck with me. So you may see a few kind of screen like some of those slides appearing in our accessibility report. Particularly interested in the accessibility slide in terms of, you know, how is the accessibility services being used with the town. I think that's a important piece of information to include in our report when we are talking about transit and active transportation. Mm-hmm. But other than that, thank you. And I guess anything else that you want to add before you leave?
I believe that's everything for now. I look forward to meeting with you all again in the future, and I'm sure I'll have more to explain and update you all then.
Fantastic. And of course, you're more than welcome to stay and take in the rest of the council. I didn't mean to indicate that we want you to actually leave, but I guess end the presentation, but you're welcome to stay as long as you wish.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Thanks, Amber. Our next presentation is by Barry Bernard from Red Tribe Boxing Club. Are you with us today, Barry?
Yes, I'm here. You can hear me?
Hi, Barry. I do. Thank you so much for making some time for us this evening to give us a little bit of information with regard to your boxing club, as well as the requests that you have for council.
All
so
right.
Over to you. Thanks.
Here's my round. Starts now. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I'm going to tell you about Red Tribe Boxing in less than 10 minutes. I started a club about 5 years ago in Eskasoni. We're a nonprofit organization. We're registered. In our organization, we have kids that come. Right now I have about 20-30 kids, and it's a free program for kids because a lot of our kids, my kids, are boxers, live with single parents, social assistants, hard times, and it gives them a guidance, a safe place, somebody to talk to. I have experienced a lot of things in the last 5 years. We have, so far in 5 years, I have organized about 11 boxing cards, 2 internationals. We had Ireland come down in Eskasoni. We had Jamaicans come down from Eskasoni. And organizing an event like this, it takes a lot of time and a lot of calling, making organization meeting, talking to people, bringing teams to whoever, Cape Breton. We have to provide them accommodations, maybe provide them gas, whatever it takes to get them down here. We also have to register the event, sanction the event with Boxing Nova Scotia. That gives the boxers and the organizations, the officials, insurance if anything should happen. So I have seen a lot of things, and you guys giving me this opportunity to have a card in Port Hawkesbury. It's a history for our Mi'kmaq Nation to have a boxing card in Port Hawkesbury. I usually have one in Eskasoni, Walmart, Guggen, Wegomau, but it's the first time ever I'll have a card outside. I'm also a commissioner with professional combat sports. I'm a commissioner with professional sports in any combat sports. In our organization, we have 2 boxing clubs. We have one in Bahankeg, which my brother Dale is operating. And he has about, I think he has same as me, 20, 30 boxers in his organization. And it's free. They don't have to pay registrations. In my organization here, it's run by my family, my 3 sons, my daughter, my wife, and a few of my good friends. We fundraise, we buy gear for all the kids, from boxing gloves, shorts, boots, hand wraps, mouth guards. We also use our own personal vehicles to take these kids to events. I got stories that I can tell you. I took a team to Montreal, and one of these poor little kids in the morning, I told him, let's go have breakfast. He pulls out a half a muffin out of his pocket. He said, no, I'm good, coach. I saved my muffin from last night. I told him, you don't have to do that. We'll buy you breakfast. We'll take care of you. When we looked at his luggage, he only had 1 pair of pants. That's it. So my wife and I decided that we're going to go get some clothes and dress him up. And when we looked at his sneakers, where he was like, he needed shoes. So anyway, we helped him out, and that's not the only stories. I have tons of stories in our organization. We had kids. There's one kid that I work in the court system. There's one kid that I bailed out from custody. He was looking at 4.5 years in jail, and I asked the judge if I can take him to my program, and he said, you can have him for 30 days. So I went to see the kid. And he said, no, I can't control my anger. I told him, I'll teach you ways to control your anger. In our organization, I use the 7 sacred teachings. And that's from respect, courage, bravery, truth, honesty. So I took this kid to my club, and the first day he came in was 3 gang members. And I told him, by the end of Friday, I tell you, your 3 buddies, they're not going to be around. He said, we're blood. We all stick together. I told him, okay, no problem. So I brought him in, and I know he had anger issues, and he went to a few therapies, and nobody can teach him how to control his anger. So I put him in a ring with my 9 boxers every night. He came in, didn't even train him. I put him in the ring. By Friday, he looked at me. He said, I know what you're doing. I said, what? He said, when I lose my anger, I lose my fights. I told him, yeah, you lose your anger. You lose everything. You lose your thought. You lose all your concentration. You even sometimes lose your friends. I told him, where's your friends now? He said, they're not here. Okay, where's your friends? He said, they can't handle it. They can't take it. So anyway, by end of 30 days, I had him a full-time job, got off drugs, had a girlfriend, and he was waving at people with a smile. He said, and he came to me and he said, it's the first time ever I've seen people wave at me and smile at me and talk to me. Because he was a kid that had issues. He was a foster kid. A lot of my kids come from foster care too. A lot of my kids are a color of rainbow. I said, they're all a mixture of kids, and we have excellent time with them. We talk to them, we treat everybody equal. Nobody's treated any differently. I have girls, boys from 10 years and over. I have seniors. So my daughter is a school teacher. My son's also a school teacher. All 3 of them are school teachers. My wife has a doctorate degree in education, and they're all certified. My daughter's certified as an official, and my son as a judge and a referee. My other 3 parties are all certified coaches. They're all level 1 coaches. So when we have a boxing card, everybody has to be certified to go in a boxing ring. Everybody has to be certified by Boxing Nova Scotia. When they go in, they got to do their medical. Everybody has to pass their medical. There'll be a doctor at the venue all the way through. We have Dr. Marshall. He's Nescazzoni. He's with the Red Tribe Boxing. He volunteered his time. All the people that are in the boxing card are volunteers. We'll schedule 15 bouts. Those 15 bouts are from boxers from New Waterford, Sydney. I see one club now in St. Peter's. From the mainland area, I have Oromocto coming down. I have 2 clubs from Ontario that want to come down. So everybody's going to be matched evenly. You have to be fair when you're matching. You don't overmatch somebody. And if you have less than 10 fights, you find somebody with less than 10 fights. The weight has to be 10 pounds over, 10 pounds less. You can't overmatch anybody. Both coaches have to agree. What else do I have to? There's something I forget. But
Mary,
anyway,
can I ask you a quick question? So can you tell us a little bit about the event that you're planning in Port Hawkesbury? Just give us a little rundown in terms of date. I know you've given us a little bit of information like the 15 bouts and
okay, May 14 is scheduled. I sanctioned a fight May 14. For me to have a sanctioned fight, we're a nonprofit organization. We have to look for sponsorship. Like a lot of these events that I have, sometimes we don't make enough money. Like Wamatuk, I made $185, profit after paying for the hotels and gas. And so when you organize an event like that, you have to look for sponsorship. And sometimes it's not that easy because of COVID. What's going on? People don't have money. Businesses are hard. It's like, this event will be like 15 fights together, and the boxers that I bring in, I would have to take care of them with meals, travel, hotels, whatever it takes to bring them in. But it's not easy when I do the work myself. I take all the fighters, make sure I balance all their cards, their records, make sure everybody's equal. What else can I tell you? There'll be officials there. There'll be a doctor there. There'll be coaches there. Red and blue have to be separated. What else can I tell you? You have to follow the COVID rules.
yeah, so May 14th, that's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday, yes.
Yeah, so I guess just to give you a little bit of information, and maybe Mark, you can help me out here because Huey, who's usually our history go-to, isn't here tonight. But we do have like a significant history here in town for boxing. We used to have the Rockabye Ross Boxing Club, and it was a huge part of our culture and heritage here in the town. And of course, we have lost touch with that. I don't know, Mark, if you wanted to add to that.
I grew up in Waikakama. I remember those days. I went to Kansas Trade Vocational School in Port Hawkesbury.
Right on.
I remember Rockabye boxing. Yes, I was in your neighbor. I've been in your neighborhood all my life.
That's fantastic.
I'm originally from Waikakama.
Right on.
But it'd be nice to honor these people when we have an events, like honor these people that are maybe their family and give them an honor, because really we have a history in boxing. For me, in the Aboriginal community, this is the first time that we ever had a boxing club in our Aboriginal community. I've been at it 5 years. It's not an easy task. It's not easy operating a boxing club where you have no funding. You're doing it by yourself. My family and I fundraise to make a little building. We have our own little building. We have Chase DAs every Friday. Whatever bills we have, we pay it with Chase DAs. Whatever fund profit we have, we provide whatever equipment that kids need. I mean, I never got any government grants. I never looked for any help. It's just from my family and I just we have a heart in boxing, because I used to be a boxer one time, and I'll tell you, in 1984, I was given an opportunity to go for an advanced camp for the Olympics. But in 94, my father took a stroke, and I can't afford, because I used to hitchhike to a boxing cart and hitchhike back home. Can't even buy a bottle of water because I didn't have any money. I didn't have that support. Yeah. So now I have one kid that's qualified for Canada Winter Games. I got 3 kids qualified for nationals. I got 4 for provincials. And I even told myself, if I can get these guys from A to B, I'll do it even if I have to get it out of my pocket. That's what we've been doing. We've been fundraising. We've been helping these kids. A lot of these kids, I made a lot of new friends. Jason's kid, I was really surprised when I met him. I met him with my brother, and he came to Eskasoni, and he was right into it. And I looked at this kid, and I told him, listen, buddy, does your father know who you're with? He said, yeah. But he got along with everybody. I have kids from Mayona. I got kids from East Bay. I got kids from everywhere. So I come to my club. And once they know it's free, and we don't go by your color, we don't go by your age, or we go by who you are. We invite everybody. I have one guy that came from Newfoundland. He walked into my club. He said, can I join? I told him, listen, man, go for it. And you make new friends, and all these kids that are competing are friends. They don't carry on grudges. They become friends. They become, you know, I have female fighters, female boxers too, and a lot of these kids become your own kids. I take them like my own kids. I'll help them out. I'll treat them like my own kid. Like,
Yeah. So Barry, just a few things. First off, I certainly would like to open up the floor in case council has any questions. But I just want to say that, I think what you're doing is changing lives. I think what you're doing is absolutely amazing. You're doing it in a very inclusive and barrier-free way. And I just wanted to say thank you.
thank you.
And I think that I love that you're doing it in grounding the work that you're doing with the 7 sacred teachings. I think that many communities across Eastern Nova Scotia can learn lessons from that. So I want to say thank you for that as well. And with that, I get so the ask before council is to, as I understand it, is to provide the venue at half cost, so that council will contribute half of the cost of the venue to make it more affordable to be able to do the venue in Port Hawkesbury. Is that correct?
Yes, there's one thing I didn't mention. All my events are alcohol and drug free. We don't promote any alcohol or drugs. It's a venue that I never promote any alcohol.
That's very fair. So I guess with that, did I get the ask correct, Barry?
Yes, you did.
Okay, perfect. So I guess
Thank you for that pitch. I'm glad you pitched it up.
No problem. I didn't want to steal your thunder. I just wanted to, I guess, make sure that council kind of understands what the ask.
Yes, thank you.
You're very welcome. So I guess with that, go ahead. Sorry.
This will be in history in our Mi'kmaq Nation to have an event in Port Hawkesbury. I mean, I've been going to Port Hawkesbury all my life. I went to school in Port Hawkesbury. I got friends in Port Hawkesbury. But
I think it would be an honor. It would be an honor.
And we need to also honor the boxers that were there before our time.
Absolutely. I agree.
We need to make it a community event. Like I always do. I always make it as a community event.
100%. So I guess we'll start perhaps with Councillor McIver.
Thank you, Your Worship. Barry, I want to thank you for the presentation. I don't have any questions, but I'm certainly interested in the boxing, and I'm looking forward to May 14th. I'll see you there.
Yeah, I thought you were going to want me to train you. I said, I wanted to train you.
I could use some training.
Do you have some training left in your mark?
There might be a little bit.
Over to you, Councillor McQuarrie.
Yeah, through Your Worship. Barry, again, thank you very much for the presentation. It sounds like you're doing a heck of a job. You're doing some very good work with the youth in your community. And yes, this is going to be very exciting on May 14th, and I look forward to it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and Deputy Mayor
excited too.
Through Your Worship to Barry. First and foremost, Barry, thanks for the presentation.
Thank you.
I'm going to just give a little bit of what I've noticed with Barry and his brother Dale and Red Tribe Boxing Club over the last number of months. I won't take a whole lot of time here, but my youngest boy Luke joined the club back in October, and from day one when he walked through that door, he was welcomed with open arms. He's been treated the best in any sport he's ever been treated in, just as good or better with the boxing. Never, was he made to feel out of place. And I heard you talk, Barry, about attitude and anger and learning, the kids learning to control it. Well, I can tell you since October, I've noticed a big difference in my son, and what the work you guys are doing with these children is just absolutely incredible. And I thank you and your brother and both clubs for that. The opportunity you're giving these children and the young adults is fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to May 14th. And looking forward to honoring 2 of our local past boxers, and we'll talk a little more about that at a later date.
Yes.
But once again, Barry, thank you for everything, and thanks for your presentation. And council will have a discussion on your ask, and as soon as we come to a resolution on it, we will be in touch with you. Thank you again.
One thing I want to mention, Jason, when we open the event, we're gonna have All Canada Song and Me. We're gonna have some drummers, and we're gonna have some dancers. We're gonna have a traditional show, a cultural show, part of the boxing program. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Barry.
Madam Mayor?
Yep.
Just one more point I forgot to add.
Sure, go ahead.
Barry and I spoke earlier, and we're also going to be using the Civic Center for the ticketing as well.
Okay, sure.
Yes.
So we'll be using the box office for that as well.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I guess while we have Barry here, is council agreeable to move this request forward to our next public meeting for decision?
Yes.
Yes.
Councilor McCrory? I saw you for a moment, Councilor McCrory, but then I just didn't hear your comment. There you are. Are you okay with moving it forward?
Microphone's held on.
Yes, Your Worship.
Okay, fantastic. So yeah, we will move it forward. So you'll be hearing from us in the next couple of weeks. Barry?
All right, thank you guys for giving me this opportunity. And now I was so nervous. I'd be nervous all day waiting for this Zoom meeting.
Well, hopefully we didn't make you feel that nervous,
No,
but
I work in the court system, and I said, holy God, this is totally different for me. But anyway, thank you very much,
I think
guys.
you're a natural. You did a fantastic job painting a picture, and certainly we definitely appreciate the time. And yeah, so I know where I'm going to be on May 14th. That's for sure.
Thank you. And the venue will start like around 6, and we hope to finish it by between 9:30 and 10.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. Take care, Barry. And you're welcome to stay. Like, I'm not kicking you out like I tried to do to poor Amber, but you're welcome to stay as long as you wish for the remainder of the meeting. But if you are leaving, have a great evening.
Thank you very much, guys. Take care. Well, audio. Thank you.
Okay, so thanks to both of our presenters. And our next item is council reports on assigned committees. So at this time, I'll just call on council just to share their reports. Maybe we'll start with Councilor McIver.
Yes, Your Worship. The only meeting that I had, I guess, to report on would be the joint park with Richmond County, and we've did some discussions, and we have a meeting coming up, I believe, on the 24th again about the condition of the road and what we'd like to do to it. Other than that, our waterfront meeting was canceled, and it was rescheduled, I believe, for the 28th. And I did read your report, and I think you covered most of that anyway.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor McIver. I think, you know what, you covered one thing I missed. I missed the date of the next meeting, so thank you for reporting on that.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. Councilor McCrory.
Thank you, Your Worship. Your Worship, I'm going to provide a written report to Melissa later in the week, but I'm just going to run through. There have been a lot of meetings. January 19th, we had the first Straight Area Transit meeting in some time, and there was a lot to cover there. Housing Advisory meeting was June 19th, but we didn't have a quorum, but we discussed a number of issues there. January 20th was the Cape Breton South Recruiting for Health Care Committee. January 27th, as Councillor McIver said, was the Joint Industrial Park Committee, the first meeting in a very long time, and very productive. January 31st, February 14th, February 7th have been regular weekly Monday accessibility committee meetings. And on February 10th was Eastern Counties Regional Library. So I will provide a report to Melissa.
Hey, much appreciated. Thank you, Councillor McCrory.
Thank you.
Over to you, Deputy Mayor Coyne.
So as Councillor McCrory just mentioned, on January 19th, we had the Housing Advisory Committee meeting. We did have some discussion about the housing consultant and their roles that we've applied for. On January 25th, we had an airport committee meeting, and the big takeaway from that was we talked about a regional strategic planning for the end of February, and we have that scheduled. January 26th, Parks and Rec. The two takeaways from that were we talked about the boxing event. That was one of the bigger, and the lights for the sports field. Those were the two biggest takeaways. We also had a discussion on membership and commitment because we're having a hard time getting quorum. So since then, Michelle has sent out an email, and we've been able to get a better time of day for some people. So it looks like we'll have a quorum more often, which is most important. We did have some discussion about potential fundraisings for different projects. On February 9th, Straight Richmond Housing Matters Coalition meeting. I was on the road that day and got cut off about halfway through lost service. And Sunday, February 13th, I sat in with the working group from the Cape Breton Lip. So the welcoming group for Port Hawkesbury, we met for about an hour and a half on Sunday and come up with some ideas on how to move forward, kind of some ideas on how to promote ourselves and let newcomers know that we're here and we want to welcome the newcomers. And so you'll see some posters coming out and some ads on the Hawk. You'll see some invitations for people to join our working group as well. And I have submitted that report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. And I appreciate the written report that you circulated via email or a little earlier. So thank you for that. And Council does have access to my committee report. I will not go through it because it's several pages long. But of course, if just one thing I will kind of draw your attention to, and that's with regard, like on the NSFM front, there are some proposals that are in the works in terms of some structural pivots with regard to NSFM. One is looking at a different way to get work done versus the current resolutions process that's currently being done. We're looking at doing the work through committees so that it's easy for us to pivot and align with some of the provincial strategies to be able to get the work that is needed by municipalities done in partnership with the province. Also, you know, just looking at, of course, doing things differently in regions versus in caucuses in terms of structure. So Council, I will try to get some more information with regard to some of those changes and perhaps add it to our next committee of the whole agenda. That way, if you have any questions or if you need more information, I'm happy to provide that. And Council you'll expect to kind of see these changes being proposed and probably receive some opportunities to engage with regard to the changes. And at the next spring workshop, of course, like all these changes will have to be voted on at that time. So I just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that piece of work, so that if you do have questions, I'm happy to elaborate with regard to that NSFM work. And if there's any other questions on my report, feel free to connect with me at any time. And if you have any questions at this point, I'm happy to answer them if you had time to read the report in your, I guess I'll open up the floor for questions now if there are any. Any from you, Blaine?
No, Your Worship, I did have a chance to read it and very detailed, and I have no questions for you.
Perfect. Mark, are you good?
Yes, Your Worship, I have no questions.
Okay, and Jason?
Yes, I'm good for now. Thanks.
Thanks. Okay, so we're going to move on to CAO reports. The first item is going to be presented by Michelle Farrow on marketing, recreation, tourism, and culture through Terry. Over to you, Michelle.
Good evening, through your worship. Hi, everybody. I'm here to present a short update on our recreation department, starting with the pool. So we began registration for the winter session of swimming lessons on February 8th, and lessons began this evening. So good thing we just missed that storm. I believe the lessons are just about full, which kind of speaks to you know, people being really ready to get going on recreation programs again. So we're really excited about that. Lessons are scheduled for Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday evenings, as well as Saturday mornings. And we've also added a few extra times for public swim and water exercise because we've had some real uptake on the programs that we were doing by sign up temporarily. So we've had lots of uptake on those. And we were kind of waiting on the new announcement with further lifting of restrictions in order to release our winter program schedule. So we did do that on February 11th, and recreation programs have started today as well. They include guitar and ukulele lessons, hip hop dance, youth basketball, youth learn to skate program, pickleball, and chair yoga. And we've also partnered with the Autism Nova Scotia Strait Area chapter to host a Learn to Skate program, as well as a more inclusive 4-week Try It yoga program. So we're really, really excited about that partnership and hope we have lots of people attend and that it goes really well. Our regular public skating schedule has resumed, so including after school skate, parent taught skate, senior skates, and our Saturday public skates. Our team is currently working on training on a new recreation program registration and booking platform. So this will be for program registration for all of our recreation programs, as well as it will house our room booking program for the Civic Center and any spaces that we book out. So the training itself is a few months long. It's weekly, but we're hoping to have it ready by spring program registration. And so the new program called ActiveNet, the capabilities will allow for user account creation. So users for our recreation programs will be able to create their own accounts, self-register, request room bookings, and it has a platform for online payment as well. So really excited to get going on that and kind of stepping into the millennium as far as you know, scheduling recreation programs and being able to book yourself and be able to self-register for swimming and all that kind of thing. So it's great. As far as events, planning for Granville Green is in full swing. All of our headlining acts are booked now. So we're just, we're booking some of our openers and really excited to make that announcement over the next couple of months. I have attached the all new sponsorship package for Granville Green to your package this evening. And really the focus of this year's sponsorship package is about creating lasting, meaningful partnerships through community investment, and really just acting as a jumping off point for creating more of a custom package and creating long-term partnerships. Other shows, we moved the Island Girls show from April to May 1st, and that was really due to the phases of reopening and capacity limits. We also moved Matt Minglewood's show from February to May 7th, and we've got Jason Cyrus, who's a hypnotist, coming on May 6th, and Evans and Doherty on March 12th. And just at the end of the report here, I just wanted to highlight a couple of the grants that the department has been working on. So in progress right now, we're working on a trail development grant and a festival and events grant for Granville Green. And previously submitted, so in collaboration with Gordy and the facilities department, we have sent in an application for funding for a new Zamboni, as previously discussed. We also recently completed an application for the Granville Green series to the Commemorate Canada program to enhance the offerings for Granville Green in summer of 2022. And lastly, we recently completed an application for the Recovery Fund for Professional Arts Presentation Organizations. And I just received word this morning that we were successful in being awarded $66,000 under that program. So that's really exciting. And then just to touch on our Facebook page likes, total likes increased from 3,623 to 3,660 over the last month. So we're slowly creeping up a little bit every month. And that is all I have for you this evening. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Michelle. At this time, does council have any questions or comments? And I have to say, like, a hypnotist? Ooh, that sounds intriguing. So what is the hypnotist show for? Like, it's just like a more of an entertainment thing, or?
Yeah, purely for entertainment.
Oh.
There's a trailer posted to our events, our Facebook events page, and he seems really exciting. And he's also really into wellness, and he's a naturopath doctor as well. So he's really cool. It's a family friendly show as well. So kind of excited to see it, really.
Yeah, so maybe your council wants to kind of volunteer to be the hypnotist guinea pig. Would that be add to the entertainment value?
Sounds like the mayor just volunteered herself.
Anyway, so Deputy Mayor Aucoin, do you have any comments or questions for Michelle?
Through you, your worship, to Michelle. I'm really excited to see Granville Green coming back. That's incredible. But it's nice to hear that the swimming programs are almost full. It's like you said, it's nice to see that people are anxious to get back out into the community and put the last 2 years behind us a little bit and move forward safely, of course. I just want to thank you again, Michelle, for all the hard work and the great presentation, and look forward to working with you over the next little bit on some of these events. Thank you.
Through the chair, thank you so much for saying that, and I'm really excited about the reopening as well, and just having more capacity for offering the community more, and excited to see where it's going to go.
And I love the new kind of redesign for the whole Granville Green kind of resurgence theme. I think it's pretty cool. Councillor McCrory?
Yes, your worship, through you to Michelle. Thank you, Michelle, for your report. Certainly there's a lot going on. I'm interested in your announcement there about the $66,000 from the Recovery Fund for Professional Arts. Could you elaborate on what that money would be used for?
So through the chair to Councillor McCrory, we applied for this fund. It's specifically for professional arts presenting organizations who have experienced a revenue loss over the past year and a half to 2 years. So we had to show that loss as part of the application. So we didn't. It was different because we didn't actually apply for a set amount. We showed our loss over that period of time, and I do believe it was around a 66% loss for the Civic Center. So in the award letter, they did state that they would get back to us soon on the requirements of the funding and what we would be able to spend it on. but it is a recovery fund. So my inclination is to think that it is to recover, just specifically to recover some of that loss.
Okay.
So more to come on that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay,
You're most welcome.
Any comments or questions, Councillor MacIver?
Through you, Your Worship, thank you, Michelle, for the report. And it looks like we're going to have as normal as we can a summer that we're all used to, and I'm looking forward to that with Bramble Green and all our activities outside.
Through Your Worship, you know, it's been a really challenging time, an even more challenging time to start a position like this with so many limitations, and really excited that by the time, you know, May, June rolls around, we'll be back to, hopefully back to 100%. So, and I see Carly saying she can't wait to attend her first Granville Green. So can't wait to have you there. Thank you.
I'm gonna save you a lawn chair next to mine, Carly. All right, well, thank you so much, Michelle. So through Terry over to Aaron for the finance report.
Thank you, through your worship. At the public meeting of council, it was requested that we look at the potential of adding medical and dental benefits for councillors, and for me to do some research around that. So I did send around as part of my report basically the list of the Nova Scotia municipalities and whether or not they provide that benefit to their councillors, as well as the percentage sharing. Just some quick notes on that. Overall, 70% of Nova Scotia municipalities do not provide medical and dental coverage to their councillors, so 30% do. I was asked to look specifically at towns, and 76% of Nova Scotia towns do not provide medical and dental coverage to their councillors, but there are 6 that do, and I've provided that it's in the presentation here tonight. So I was asked to look at similar size towns. I gave you the whole list so you can look at that list for yourselves. But the ones that do didn't seem to be comparable in size. Some are much larger and some are quite a bit smaller. So none of the towns that seem to be around our population are provide that to their councillors. Next slide there, please, Terry. So that was the research I did and the information I have to present. But just another question that was asked was around whether the benefits are cost shared if they are provided to council, and the vast majority of municipalities do have some sort of cost sharing formula, and the cost sharing formulas are in the information I provided to council. Some are 50-50, some are 60-40. We would be 60-40, so 60% employer, 40% employee for our current employees. Costs for single coverage are around $1,200 annually. $3,000 for family coverage is what we pay currently. Coverage, just around coverage, it would be mandatory if we do provide this as part of our benefits package. It would be a separate classification for councillors where they're not employees, but it would be mandatory to take unless you have other coverage that you can show proof of. So it's a mandatory coverage unless you have other coverage. And just if council is interested in moving forward with this, we may want to look at a policy around that, as opposed to just a motion of council. So I'll take questions on that, or otherwise or I can go through the rest of my report and then take questions on everything, whatever the wishes are. My other pieces are pretty quick, so.
Sure, Aaron, if you want, just continue through your report and then we can open up the floor for questions.
Great. And just on the shared IT project, our IT director is in place. I had provided an update on that, that he was going to be starting in the new year, just to inform council that he has started. David Muse is his name. He's working out of the Antigonish County offices right now, but he will be coming to visit us in the town on Thursday to meet with Terry and I, and we are having our first board meeting. It's looking like it'll be next week or the week following to get some more details around kind of his work plan and priorities that have been identified and kind of next steps in that. So really exciting kind of news for the region that are part of that project. Budget planning session will be tomorrow evening at 5:30, virtual meeting. If there's anybody in the public that is interested in attending, please email myself or Melissa and we can send you the link. And next slide there, just a quick update on the snow removal costs to date. So these costs would be up to February 6th. We've spent $155,000 of our $226,000 budget. We budgeted to the end of February to spend around $170,000, but we're not at the end of the month yet. But I just wanted to kind of show you up-to-date costs as of what we had at currently. So just we're at 69% of our total annual budget in snow removal, so a little bit higher than where we'd want to be right now and higher than we've seen previously, particularly in wages and salt. You know, our storms last year seemed to fall during the week. So when we had our employees already on, they seem to be falling on weekends this year, particularly in January. So I'll continue to update council on this as the year goes on. Not shocking numbers by any means. A bit higher than we would want to be at right now, but nothing that's that I don't think we can overcome. And really it depends on the next couple of months till we get to the end of March where things will be. So I'll continue to update council on that. So happy to take any questions now on any of the items that were presented this evening.
Thanks so much, Erin. I guess we'll start with Deputy Mayor Coyne.
Through your worship, Darren. Just on the snow removal costs, I know maybe I look at it differently, but you know, last year we tried to predict what it was going to cost this year. If we go over budget, it's over budget. It's out of our control. Thank you for showing us where we're at, but in my mind, it's kind of out of our control. So if we go over, we go over, and we find a way to pay for it through the reserves or whatever need be. The medical and dental benefits, I do have a question on that. There was a bullet there that says it would be mandatory unless you have other coverage. Is that something that's directed from the provider?
Yes.
Okay. So the provider saying if we adopt this and we have council members that do not have coverage, they have to take it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Your report.
No problem.
Okay, Councillor McIver.
Through you, your worship, thank you, Erin, for the report. And I have no questions.
Easy peasy. Over to Councillor McCrory.
Yes, your worship, no, I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Erin, for your report. Appreciate it.
Thank you, your worship. See you.
Now through Terry over to Jason McMillan for your report on engineering and public works.
Thank you, your worship, and Terry. And good evening, folks. In your committee of the whole package, traffic sign report was provided as usual. And based on the comments from the last committee of the whole meeting, I provided a little more detail in your agenda package, which is more of a tabular summary of the data span that's shown in the graph that you're seeing here, as well as a snapshot of a random day within that data set that will allow you to kind of look a little bit deeper into the times of day when you're seeing the heaviest traffic. So hopefully everyone had a chance to review that. And if anyone has any questions on that data or other forms of information that we can try to pull out of that out of our town-owned radar sign, by all means, please reach out to me anytime. And we did recently move the sign as well. So from its previous location Reeve Street Hill. It's been moved to Reeve Street adjacent to this Sobeys Plaza entrance facing northbound traffic. A quick update on the process controls upgrade project. So unfortunately, the contractor has been notified that delivery of materials has been pushed back once again. So we're not expecting delivery of the main motor starters that we need to undertake this work until later in February. It's not the end of the world. Our funding partners have been kept aware of these delays, and I think it's quite common throughout the province and many different types of industries, given pandemic conditions. And a request for an extension has been submitted to Municipal Affairs. We're not anticipating any issue with that request as well. Sunset Park. Eastern Fence was on site recently to install new wooden fence along some areas of the Sunset Park area, and they did an excellent job given the work was undertaken in a really cold day in February. It was a couple of days work actually, but it's nice to see that that piece finished. It's kind of the start of what we have planned for that space this summer, and really hope that council and residents of the community are as pleased with the end product that we hope to be, because we're certainly excited to see that space transformed. And there's a sketch of the proposed property arrangement with your agenda package. Pothole repairs, just wanted to give a little update on this, as pothole repairs has certainly been something that's been in the news lately, although with other communities, not necessarily Port Hawkesbury. This is the time of year where we start to see potholes form, and everybody knows that really it's caused from freeze-thaw cycles and moisture getting into cracks and such in the asphalt surface, which causes it to deteriorate and potholes form. Our staff have been doing a great job trying to keep on top of potholes and filling those with cold mix asphalt, as we're made aware, and as staff do patrol the streets daily, and that's one of the items that we're always on the lookout for. But I would like to note that we are certainly seeing vast improvements with potholes on our town streets, given the recent method change for how we're repairing them the last couple of seasons. So that's one of the benefits that we're noticing. Solid waste diversion rates. Wanted to give a quick update on that. So that was, I believe Councillor McCrory had reached out after our last committee of the whole meeting, requesting some information on this topic, and it was a really good question, and council is overdue for an update on it. So I wanted to make sure that everyone was made aware. Our diversion rates are really quite good, with an average of 42.45%, spanning well over a year since the onset of the green card program. We're currently doing curbside inspections with town staff. So we have a staff member who was out on Monday and Tuesday morning collections and inspects the materials sent to curb, and is trying to provide some useful information to residents and answer any questions with regards to sorting that they may have. And looking at our trending for diversion rates this time of year, a dip is expected in the winter months, given that people do put less organic materials to the curb, as we're not cutting grass and raking leaves and doing trimming hedges stuff like that. So, but overall, it's been a very, very positive program and very successful. Macquarie Drive Extension, active transportation design is the next piece that we wanted to talk about. So we've been working closely with our engineering consultant on the design for one of these one of our first phases of our multi-year, multi-phase active transportation network upgrades project. So this design relates to an active transportation facility along Macquarie Drive, from the intersection with McSween Street through to Summit Drive. So very exciting piece of work. We're extremely pleased with the design work completed so far, though we are fairly early in the design stages. But we hope to nail down a lot of the outstanding details that we have to work through, like with regards to stormwater management and property lines and just dealing with any of those minor details that are quite common for these types of projects. And we're hoping to have a package tender ready for later in February or early March. So we expect things to come together fairly quickly on this one. And as always, activity summary from the Public Works staff was included with your package as well. And that concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thanks so much, Jason. Appreciate it. I guess I would turn over the floor to councillors who may have some questions. So Councillor McIver, any comments or questions for Jason at this time?
No, Your Worship, I have no questions, and thank you, Jason, for the report.
Thank you.
Okay. So Deputy Mayor Coyne, any questions or comments?
Through Your Worship to Jason. I did hear you speak, Jay, about the new method that you guys have been using for the last year or two for the potholes. Do you have a rough percentage guess on how effective that's been? So how many less potholes we're seeing, or?
So to comment on that, it's more about not seeing the same areas come back year after year. So when we mill out a pothole section in the spring and apply hot mix asphalt to that milling section, it creates a much better bond to the existing asphalt and makes for a more longer lasting repair, and that's why we're seeing the better conditions of our streets over the winter.
And just basically a comment, I said this 2 weeks ago, but I want to say it again. The work that our public works staff did during that ice storm was absolutely incredible. It was second to none. I drove around Port Hawkesbury and saw the streets, and I had to go to a couple of different communities, and then the day after and the day of, actually, even the storm, and the streets here looked absolutely fantastic. The job they did was incredible. It was hard to keep up with the slush and the ice. I know I plowed streets before, and when you get that heavy rain with a lot of snow and ice already, it's almost impossible to control and to keep up with, but they did an incredible job. So kudos to the staff, and thanks for your report.
Thank you very much. Pass along those kind words.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Over to you, Councillor McCrory.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship, through you to Jason. Thank you for the report, Jason. With Macquarie Drive Extension, are there plans to include any seating areas like benches along that development?
Yes. Yes, for sure. So this is very preliminary design, and WSP does know that we're going to be including a bench area by the nursing home, and there's already a lot of benches in the area around the pump track and the park and such, but certainly a bench bump out around the nursing home is in the plan.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate you asking that question, Councillor Macquarie. We certainly had that conversation at our accessibility meeting this week in terms of, some of the feedback that we've been getting about some of the changes we have had around town. We've had such wonderful feedback from persons who do have disability challenges, that those benches really make a big difference in terms of their active transportation ability to get around town. So no, that is a great point, Councillor Macquarie. So it's nice to hear, Jason, that's going to be incorporated into this particular design, and I'm super excited to see this on the screen, and even more excited to see it happen in person. It's certainly something we've gotten feedback for quite some time. Mark, probably even earlier. This has probably been on our radar for how long you've been on council the longest, Mark. This has probably been something that citizens have been asking for quite some time.
Yes, Your Worship, a long time since the road's been built.
Only that long? And how long ago was the road built? God, don't even answer that.
No. No,
anyway,
it's well overdue, and I think it'll be well appreciated once it's done.
I think so. And just that connection, just connecting the nursing home, the school, the rock center, and the curling club and the community park and the residents all around. I think it's such an important project for the town. So thanks so much for your report, Jason.
Thank you very much.
Terry, did you have anything to add before I guess we move on to Gordy's report?
No, Your Worship, no, some excellent reports tonight, and yeah, and so again, if there's any questions at all that come up after, please either reach out to me or directly to the manager or director.
Thanks, Terry. Over to you now, Gordy, for your report for facilities.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Terry. And through you, Your Worship, I'll give you a brief report here on facilities. Starting with the Civic Center, we're in a new phase with provincial restrictions opening up yesterday. For the arena, we're allowed 60 people now at the playing surface, and we're allowed league games and full practices. So that puts us at 50% spectator capacity. For us in our facility, it's around 500 people we're allowed to have, and there is quickly out of the gates, there is a Junior B game tonight, and there's about 200 people there, so we're back into the swing of it. And our walking track is open more now with the higher numbers, so we don't have to watch that as closely, so we can have our walking track open, not for Junior B games, but maybe in the evenings when it's regular hockey practices and stuff like that. So as Michelle mentioned, we have an application into the province for the rink revitalization program, specifically for a new ice resurfacer. That went in last week. Our fields, we were waiting to continue our discussions. We're in the middle of discussions with our electrical engineer on the ball field lighting, as you know. We do have some preliminary result figures back from them. And I think council, I don't know if they're aware of them or not, but we can chat about that. And we're waiting to discuss budget for the tennis courts lights to see where we go with that project. The food bank, we're starting to take on a project there with the food bank to begin renovations there. That's going to include a walk-in cooler and walk-in freezer combination unit. Some renovations to the building for accessibility, entrance and exit, and just for a smoother operation there. We're going to upgrade the kitchen area and the washroom area. As we know, that's an older building and it's due, and part of that would be some facade improvements also. So we do have preliminary drawings that we're working through Archibald and Fraser and Annie Kanish. We had a meeting today, made a few changes, but we'll work through that and we'll update council and your worship as we proceed. As Michelle mentioned, the pools are open. Current restrictions, numbers, lessons are going. We have an application in process for electric vehicle charging stations. It's a program being offered. So we're planning on looking at the possibility of 3 charging heads in Port Hawkesbury at a couple of locations. The deadline for that application is March 18th. We have not yet heard anything back yet on our summer students. We expect to hear by no later than mid-April usually. Our Accessibility Advisory Committee continues to meet every week, working towards the finalization of our municipal plan. Our accessibility survey is now complete, and we're working through the data of that survey. A lot of good information coming back to us. And we've made applications to the province for some accessibility funding on 3 different projects. One is the Sunset Park site. One is the parking and hard surface trail connecting the AT trail to the Fountain Park parking lot down by the fountain, and another one is for the food bank and the renovations that will be taking place there. So that's my brief report this evening, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thanks so much, Gordy. I would ask at this time if council has any questions or comments for Gordy. Maybe we'll start with Councillor McCrory.
No questions, Your Worship, but through you to Gordy. Thanks, Gordy, for the report.
Okay, Councillor McIver, any questions or comments, Councillor McIver?
Yes, Your Worship, through you. Thank you, Gordy, for the report. I just have one question. In the food bank renovation with the cooler and renovations to the building, I take it, is there going to be a different way for the clients to access the building rather than on the front street?
Right now, through you, Your Worship, to Councillor McIver, right now, Councillor McIver, we have the same layout, but we're certainly working towards making it more accessible and a little bit more private for the clients on the open days. So there'd be a much more fluid in and out with some accessible parking and yeah, some sort of covering for the weather and stuff like that.
Thank you. That sounds great.
You're welcome.
Mayor Coyne.
Through your worship to Gordy, thank you for your report. Gordy, I did see on your slide there with the walking track, the slide says open Monday to Friday, 6 to 4:30. You did mention something about evenings and possibly weekends, is that correct?
Yeah, because with the restrictions that we had in place before this week, we were only allowed so many people in there with no spectators. So we were allowed the cohorts on the ice, and that was pretty much it. It's now being opened a little more. We were allowed, 50% of our capacity, and we really, it's not that often that we reach anything close to that. So I think we'd be safe in, having a discussion on opening the walking track up a little bit more.
Okay, and once we have that discussion, we will be posting a schedule, will we, please?
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, Gordy.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks for your report, Gordy. And I just wanted to compliment you on including an accessibility, category in your report. I think that's important going forward. I appreciate it.
Good. Thank you, Your Worship.
You're welcome. And now over to Terry, through Terry, for any bylaws or policy review reports.
Yes, Your Worship, there's no update on bylaws and policies at this time. I think the focus on this time of year is through budget, and it's challenging even getting those meetings in. So once we're at a certain point in the budget process, we'll bring forward the next two bylaws for review of council.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Terry. So we're going to move on at this time to other business. The first item under agenda item number 7 is medical for council, and I'll hand things over to Deputy Mayor Aucoin for any discussion on that item. Over to you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Well, I guess, Erin kind of answered my questions in her report. It's hard to have a discussion without all of council here, I guess, on this to see where council would like to go with it. So if we could defer this until we have all of council present, that would be my wish.
Absolutely.
If council's okay with that.
Yeah, I think that that's a great idea. Council McCrory and Council McIver, are you okay with moving that forward to the next committee of the whole when we have everyone present?
Yes, Your Worship.
Perfect. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Aucoin. Our next item is water account adjustment. So I'll hand things over to our CFO, Erin McEachen. Over to you, Erin.
Hi guys, through you, Your Worship. So we had one arrears account number 012130.02. It's a water utility account that we're asking to adjust off as the property owner is deceased. So we're not able to do that without council's consent.
Okay, thank you, Erin. Is council comfortable, or do I have consensus to move this forward for decision for our public meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Your Worship.
Yes, Your Worship.
Thank you, Erin, for that. And we will move that forward to our public meeting. And lastly, under other business is microhomes. And to lead off the discussion is Deputy Mayor Aucoin. Over to you.
Thank you, Your Worship. So I have been approached by a resident from a neighboring community looking to do a microhome development. And there's some different ideas of how we go about this. Do we want to have it all in one subdivision? Do we want to have a cul-de-sac? Do we want to allow maybe groups of 2 to 4 microhomes in different sections of town? And I just kind of wanted to get the pulse on council to see what your thoughts are, and then maybe we can have some discussion and try to move this file forward. Now, for myself, I thought it was pretty interesting. This gentleman has said to me that if we were to look at a subdivision, he'd be willing to build 3 right away and potentially sell those 3, build 3 more. He may even keep some for rentals. He would like to live in one himself, actually. So I'd just like to get some feedback from council to see if there is an appetite for the microhomes, and if so, how do we go about it?
Thanks. Thanks very much for that, Jason. Before I open up the floor for discussion, I would certainly recommend that we invite John Bain to our next public meeting, just to ask him to look at what are some pathways with regard to our current zoning and how we might be able to accommodate microhomes in different locations around town with the current zoning that we have. I would recommend that if council's in agreement. Anyway, but definitely let's open up the floor to get some discussion. And I'm assuming, Jay, in terms of microhomes, it's like they're not the tiny homes. They're like kind of smaller size, fixed base.
So they will be a fixed base. They will not be on wheels. They'll go on a slab.
Right.
But just before we open it up, Mayor, I wonder if we shouldn't wait till the April meeting for John Bain, because I think we're going to discuss this at March 2nd's PAC meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. But we can get a little bit of feedback from council, I guess, in terms of what the thought processes are. Councillor McIver?
Yes, Your Worship, as I guess was mentioned earlier, that if council can get together and look at the lands that we have that are available and pick spots that maybe this would really fit in, and like the deputy mayor said, like a cul-de-sac or something on its own separate, like I'm a strong believer of that. But I'm certainly, if we have an interested party in building 3 right away and either looking to sell or rent, that would really help our housing problems, and it's a good start. So I think it's up to us to identify the properties where we want to go and how we're going to go about it. So I would like to get at it as soon as possible.
Sounds good. Thank you for that. Councillor McCrory?
Yes, Your Worship, I would just agree with the comments made by Councillor McIver that we're all interested in seeing housing development and being innovative and doing things differently and maybe outside the box is something we've had several discussions about. But I wonder through you, Your Worship, to Deputy Mayor Coyne, would this potential developer be willing, I wonder, to make a presentation to council?
Right now, they're in the design stages, and they're going to give once they have that, they're going to give it to Terry and to John. And once we can figure out if it's something we can do, then I'm sure they would be willing to give a presentation.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I would ask Terry as well if, like, in terms of, I guess, staff direction, like, is there anything that you wanted to add to the conversation, Terry?
No, I think it was covered well. So this is a zoning issue again. One of the number of zoning issues because it doesn't fit perfectly within our planning strategy or planning land use bylaw. So that meeting on the 2nd will ensure that that's on the agenda, and we'll look at the restrictions, lot size, building code, those types of things that have to be addressed when we look at that. So no, it's all good.
That's fantastic, and I really want to commend council for being so willing to be proactive on this and try to create as enabling a pathway as we can for all kinds of different housing, and to be able to make sure that we can create that enabling environment through zoning, or work together to identify some locations around town where we can integrate various forms of housing. So thank you, council, for that. Is there anything you wanted to add, Deputy Mayor Coyne, before we continue on?
Just I'm thankful and grateful that council is, interested in different types of housing, and I think once we get our first 3 or 4 micro homes done, and I'm not saying if, I'm saying when, I think you're going to see a lot more people moving that way. It's a big thing right now. It's moving across the country like wildfire, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, everyone around the council table knows I'm absolutely obsessed with micro homes and tiny houses and all manner of different kinds of housing styles. So definitely looking forward to more conversations and around this item. And with that concludes our other business items on our agenda. We don't have any approved additions to deal with this evening, so we'll move on to future meetings. Our next public meeting, of course, is always the first Tuesday of every month, which lands on March 1st, followed by Committee of the Whole on the 3rd Tuesday of every month, which falls on March 15th. For the benefit of folks that are joining us or may watch this at a later date, we do have a budget meeting tomorrow evening. And of course, all meetings of council, including budget meetings, are open to the public. If anybody wishes to take in any of our budget meetings, you simply just have to send an email to our clerk, Melissa Warner, and the email address is mwarner@townofph.ca. And of course, all of those meetings are advertised on our website and on social media. Any other meetings, Terry, that we should be mentioning?
No, that's it, Your Worship.
Perfect. Okay, with that, I would ask for a motion of adjournment.
So
Moved.
moved.
Oh, that was definitely a tie. I feel like Councillor Macquarie moved that and seconded by Deputy Mayor Aucoin. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Contrary minded? Meeting is adjourned. Thanks everyone for your time this evening.
Good night.
Have a